What a weekend of rugby we have got, and we're nearly there. We are so nearly there. On the one hand, in the Rugby Championship, we have got those cross-Tasman cousins, those old rivals, the Bledisloe brothers. And in the other game in the Rugby Championship, on Saturday evening, we have got the BRAAI brothers. The two countries on earth, and I can speak with first-hand experience of this, of my experiences of South Africa. I have not been to Argentina. I hope to, and I will do. And then I'll sample for myself if it is the same. But I'm led to believe that Argentina are equally passionate, as I've seen South Africans are, about cooking meat on an open flame. I hope if you're in South Africa, you had a lovely Heritage Day yesterday and had some cold ones and a nice feed. And in the case of Argentina, I'm sure they got in on the act as well. They've been in Durban for like over a week now, getting properly acclimatized and getting prepared for what is going to be a massive game. And history beckons for both of these sides. All four teams in the Rugby Championship can win the Rugby Championship. Argentina have never won it, and they must be sensing an opportunity. And South Africa have never won it back to back. So that's the sort of thing that their great rivals, New Zealand, have done time and again. So they will want to try and emulate that as well. It's going to be massive. And I know that of all the places I could be on earth, where I would want to be on Saturday evening would be in the Kingston bar in the South Stand of Kings Park, because it's wild. It's the most fun. It's up there with some of the most fun I've had at a rugby game ever. Actual sand under your feet. Just the dead ball line is there, and you're in a beach club. It's mad. It's absolute madness. Durban's a bit of a one-off. I hope to be back there soon. Everyone going there is going to have a great time. These guys, are they going to be celebrating and jumping into Kingston's Beach Club after the game, going down the Flume Tube in the North Stand? Who knows? It's a big ask, isn't it? But there is the Argentina team. Let me know your thoughts in the chat down below. Give the video a thumbs up. Hit subscribe. I want to know what you reckon. Do Argentina have a chance? What is their route to victory? Obviously, they've upset New Zealand already. We've seen Australia as well, at the spiritual home of South African rugby, go and take the plaudits in that opening game of the Rugby Championship. And this is less of a happy hunting ground for South Africa than Loftus Versfeld or Ellis Park. So I'm sure there will be some nervous Bok fans, no question. And they lost in the last minute to Ireland, the game I was there watching last year. So Cape Town and Durban are not, sea level venues are not generally as fruitful for big wins for South Africa. That said, they've got a good home record at every stadium, and against Argentina, especially so. So 6-2 split is the first observation, whereas Rassi seems to be reverting back to the 5-3, maybe 5.5, 2.5 if you count Andre Esterhuizen as a hybrid. 6-2 for Argentina. But Thomas Albanese is back in the squad. That's big. He's on the bench, and it's a different scrum half as well. Benitez Cruz is back as well, so 9 and 10 on the bench are changed. The back line, let's just start there for a second. It's completely unchanged from the last game, and they've got, much like South Africa actually, they've got lots of multi-positional players, so they can go with a 6-2 because Lucio Cinti can play on the wing as well as centre where he's starting. Juan Cruz Malia can step in at 10 or play on the wing. Santi Carreras is 10, but he can play fullback. Albanese is on the bench, obviously. The only place where I think they could potentially be exposed if a centre goes down, if Chocobares goes down, I just don't think they can cover that. Presumably they'd have to put Santi Carreras out 1 and Albanese in at 10. I'm not sure, but that's the only risk I would say in that. In terms of the forwards, the Lucy merry-go-round continues. They've got 4 amazing players, and they just seem to like rotate them. Okay, your turn to go on the bench this time. Your turn to go on the bench. Your turn to go on the bench, and we're back to Juan Martín González being on the bench. That feels like the strongest back row for Argentina. Pablo Matera at 6, just a massive defensive unit, and that battle. That is rugby from the gods. Pieter-Steph du Toit and Pablo Matera opposite each other. Obviously, I think Argentina, to be fair, they're not actually a blind side and open side. They're more a left and right, a bit more like France. I think Argentina and France both play left and right. Obviously, South Africa have their 6 and 7 the other way around to the rest of the world. So, actually, I think Pieter-Steph du Toit will, at different times, be taking on Marcos Kremer, who's another absolute beast, and Pablo Matera. I cannot wait to see that Lucy matchup. And Oviedo and Jasper Wiese are just animals. So, I mean, it's like gladiatorial. It's like, yeah. It's like this game should be played in a coliseum, just between those back rows. It's going to be ace. And Juan Martín González is serious as a backup as well. I've got a combined 23-man squad to go through in a minute. So if you had all of the South African players, I'll remind you of their team as well, and all of the Argentinians, which would you pick? It's quite revealing when I put mine forward. Gonzalo Garcia and Santi Carreras. Santi Carreras did really well. He has grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, which he can do. I always think he can be a little bit hot and cold. Occasionally, he'll win you a game on his own, and then he can just sort of fade into the background a little bit. But Albanor's waiting on the bench. That guy's legit. And then, yeah, both of the locks are changed. Rubiolo and Petty. Well, Rubiolo is definitely one of the best locks. Petty is potentially alongside him. It would be Molina and Rubiolo, or Petty and Rubiolo as your starting locks. So it is interesting that Petty and Rubiolo are both on the bench. And I do wonder, with Molina and Paulos starting, kind of Paulos is a bigger body. I do wonder if Felipe Contepomi is thinking along a bomb squad type of approach here, because Thomas Albanors can bust the game open. When there's tired bodies and stuff, he can smell a little gaps. He's got a great running game, good kicking game, brilliant distribution. Juan Martín González out of the back row, he's kind of comes from a sevens background and is a rangy runner, really, really quick. Good line-out forward as well, actually, to be fair. But with those locks as well, I just wonder, are Argentina anticipating that they might be behind in the second half and might need to bust the game open a little bit? I wonder. Thing is, are Argentina, they're a team that quite like a lot of possession. They're very comfortable with the ball. All of their players are very good handling. But that didn't really work for New Zealand, who tried the whole coast-to-coast thing against South Africa, and they came up a cropper. So I think the one thing you get with this Argentina team, and maybe that's where these bigger bodies come in early in the game, you've gone for the biggest possible back row, and maybe you've gone for the biggest possible second row. They're just going to go and try and win those collisions, which New Zealand did not do. And those collisions meant that South Africa had quicker ball, which meant that the backs were on the front foot. They were able to get their shape going, execute, get to the edges, and it was a spiral that New Zealand could never get out of, and it's one that Argentina have got to deal with. They have got to win the collisions to slow up South Africa's ball and to speed up their own. And I think that might be why they're going big bodies first, and then maybe slightly more mobile, quicker guys coming on later. It's going to be interesting. We'll see. In terms of a combined 23-man squad, oh yeah, without saying that, it will become very obvious in just a second. But I do have worries about the Argentinian front row. That is the South African team, which there are minimal changes, a couple of different faces. Eben Etzebeth coming back in, Damien Dialende coming back in, two key men. A little bit of a few little tweaks here and there. Morné van den Berg on the bench. Boan Venter coming in at loosehead prop with Jan-Hendrik Wessels to hooker. But it's a very, very strong-looking team, which kind of feels like it's got a lot of experience, a lot of caps, and a lot of big names and leadership. But it's got a bit of a future Bok feel about it as well. It's definitely being picked for the here and now and to win this test match. No question of that. A combined 23-man squad looks very green. So Oxenche and Dutoy and Venter and Lowe, I've gone for all South African props. And Sclavi's a big old unit. He's a giant cube of a man. I don't know what's happened to the Argentine scrum. It used to be their absolute strength and their backs were the weakness. Now it's kind of inverted. They need to find a little bit of balance and try and find... There might be some technical things that they can do to try and stem the tide, but Sclavi, On and Che is going to be really, really important for them. Julian Montoya will help, and I've picked him above Malcolm Marx. Now, that on his day, Malcolm Marx is right up there with Dan Sheehan as the best hooker in the world, and Piato Malvaca as well. I just think Marx has not been at his best, and Montoya has been talismanic. So I've picked Montoya, the South African locks, and in the back row, like I said, Argentina play left and right, and I just couldn't leave Matera out, couldn't leave Pieter-Steph du Toit out. And it was a real coin flip between Visa and Oviedo, because that matchup I'm so excited about. They are a couple of animals, those two number 8s. So looking forward. So Sia Khaleesi gets nudged out of that one, but Matera and Peter Steph Toy are just godlike on the rugby field. Reinach over Gonzalo Garcia, who is a good player. Sasha FM over Santi Carreras, who is a very good player. Dialende and Chocobares kind of splitting the difference there. Same on the wings, Carreras and Colby, although it's Ethan Hooker's home stadium, that's going to be pretty cool. Filmser at fullback over Malia, and until his last performance, which was a proper 10 out of 10 blockbuster, incredible performance against New Zealand, I would have been picking Malia, no question. But there you go, Filmser on form, and the bench. I've gone for Gonzalez only on the bench and him over Quagga Smith. And Quagga Smith is obviously so good on the bench. He's a little bomb squad all of his own. But Gonzalez, he's so good. He's so good. And I think more versatile. Quagga Smith is an 8 who can jackal a bit. Gonzalez is a brilliant line-out forward. Can play 6, 7, 8 equally well. Good ball carrier. Brilliant in the wide channels. So I would just edged for him. Other than that, it's all green. And I think with only 4 starters and 1 on the bench, 5 Argentinians out of the 23, 18 South Africans, probably tells a story. But what that probably tells a story of more than anything, because games aren't played of paper, is that the pure heart and passion that Argentina show in these games bridges the gap between some of their players and maybe on occasion the better talent in front of them. And I've said it all the time and I'll say it again, the more Argentinians are crying during the national anthem, the more chance they've got of winning. I think it will be the Boks by a couple of scores. Maybe something like 32 points to 18, something like that. 2 scores. 32-18, 32-20, something like that. A couple of scores. On home soil, following on from Wellington. But then what would be the point in rugby if you knew what the result was going to be? We also thought South Africa would win. Well, I certainly thought South Africa would win by a couple of scores at Ellis Park against Australia, and it did not pan out that way. This Rugby Championship is dynamite, and it might be the last proper Rugby Championship we get for a while. So let's drink it in, soak it in, and I'll be here back on the channel on game day covering it. I'm bringing you my thoughts. Leave me yours in the chat down below. I'll see you on the next one.